my channel, and it's been a while since I made the video. I've been working on a project that took a lot of my time. That took about 3 weeks from me, so I've not been able to make any YouTube video, and I apologize for that. I've been so busy lately, and today I have something fancy for you guys. It is the to-do list everyone knows. So this is what we're going to be creating in today's video with just HTML, CSS and Vanilla JavaScript, no framework. I feel like using a framework for something this simple, like using like React or Angular, is overkill for something this simple. So we're going to use just plain vanilla JavaScript for it. So I just want to show you a demo. This is what we're going to be creating. This is the current time. It is actually very simple to make, and this is how it looks like. So when I open this, click on that, then it slides in smoothly, and there's currently nothing in our to do. And once I put in something like meeting with boss and I add it, it shows the notification here and also shows in here. I can also add other things like going to the gym and get added also. And we also have some validation, like if the field is empty and I press enter, then it shows please fill the fields. So that is what we're going to be doing. And if you take a look right now, this says add to do, but when it becomes smaller, when it gets shifted to the left, it's changed to just the plus sign. So this is what we're going to be creating. It can also work either way without that open. Like if I say dancing the club, I cannot dance, but I'll use that as an example. So you can also get added, and once if we delete, it goes like this. And that's if we make it checked, that's completed. And if we want to delete, we can just delete this and it gets deleted like that, and also like this. So this is what we're going to be creating, and hopefully you guys like it and enjoy it. Without further ado, let's jump into the text editor. You can just leave that alone. So I can go to Visual Studio Code, which is my text editor I'm using. And first thing first, I would like to let me just increase the brightness for a minute. Let me just increase it here. So first thing first, I would like to close this, and I'll create the files we'll be needing. I'll need our index.html. Where are you? I also need our a folder, so CSS, and our file in here as style.css, and I would also need a folder also, which is our JavaScript folder, and a file called app.js like this. And I'm going to close this up right now because we do not need them. So I'm going to use Visual Studio Code Emmet to generate the boilerplate with Shift1 then Tab. Then it generates this boilerplate, so I don't have to type it all out. So if you are using Sublime Text, you can use HTML tab, but that does not work in here. So we use oops, what have I done? I've been working on some Node.js stuff. So we use exclamation tab. So I'll just change the title to do app, and oops, and the body. I'm going to start writing some code, but before I forget, I would like to link our CSS. So I'll say link, then css/style.css, and also our JavaScript, which is going to be in the script with the source of js/app.js. And we're also going to be using Montserrat fonts. So I can just come to fonts.google.com. You can just search for our http fonts.google.com and search for Montserrat. What am I typing? Montserrat. Where are you? Okay, right here. So what's happening? Click. Okay, and I chose the light 300, so you can choose whatever you want. So I can just copy this, and paste that above that. And we're also going to use Font Awesome. I have a cool snippet which can generate the Font Awesome CDN real quick, which is FCDN then tab. If you don't have this snippet, just feel free to go to Font Awesome's CDN. You can just search for, let me see, something like Font Awesome CDN of fontoso.com and just click on get started and grab that. So I'm going to just put an H1 here. I say hello world. Oops, sorry about that. And I'm using the extension. You notice when I saved it kind of formatted itself, so I'm using the extension called prettier, and I'm also using live server. So if you want to get there, you can just come to the extension bar here and you can search for prettier, and oops, it's going to pop up. Then you can just click on it. This is it, and you can just install. I'm also using live server extension, which makes it which reloads the page whenever I save the file. So you can also install that. And for the pretty, I can just let me just show you some of my settings. I know I've done this in a couple videos, but I'd like to also show you. So you can search for save on format, and by default this is going to be unchecked, so you can check this. And you can also search for pretty. And what that save on format does is whenever you save the file, it formats the file. Whenever you save it, format and makes everything look pretty. So you can go to the bottom, and I just want to show you some of my settings. I have this when I'm using React, so the JSX, I always like using single quote. So if you are using that, you can also check this. And right here in my JavaScript, I like using semicolon, so I have this checked. And I also like using single quote. My tab width is 3, so if you also want that, you can check that. And that should be all. This is some Vue.js stuff. So let us get going and start writing some stuff. So I'm going to go right here. Right now I can just right click and open with live server, and it's going to open on my default browser, which is Mozilla Firefox. I've stopped using Chrome for a while now because Chrome has been lagging on my machine. So this is it, and just come here and you can just get rid of this. So the first thing I would like to do is have our header. So I'm going to have what's this? Once I have our header, I'm going to put a div with the class of burger, and I'll put 3 divs inside. And I'm sure I've done this like 4 or 5 times in a couple videos, so I like using the same style. So I can just use div, I can say dot line -1, then with Visual Studio Code I can do asterisk 3, then it's going to generate it 3 times for me. So I can just change this to 2 and this to 3. Oops, this to 3. So that's just this burger line and just this line right here that changed to the X sign like this. Maybe we could have used like font awesome or so, but I really like keeping it simple to reduce the amount of packages we install. So I'm going to go below the header and have a main tag, and I'll put a div with a class of time-showcase like this, and I'll put an h2 the class of time. So I'm going to give it a class of time, and I'm just going to put some hard-coded time in. So I can just say let me see what's the time. So 4:21 and just some seconds like this. And below this div of the time class of time showcase, I'm going to have a form. So say a form with the class of r-form, and it's actually not going to get submitted anywhere, so you can just leave that. And in the form I'll have an input, and in the input it'll be a type of text, and I'll give it a class of input like this. And below that I'll have a button with I'll give it a type of submit, and in here I'll just put, let me see, span, because I will have the text which is hard to do in a span. And I'll just have our I tag with a class of FAS, then FA dash plus like this. Then I can press enter, and it looks like this. If I save down and take a look, it looks like this. So where is our icon? Oops, why is this thing loading so slow? Okay, right here, that's our icon. Let me just close this. And so what we need to do next, we will let me see, below the main tag I have a section because of to do dash list. This is going to be our to-do list. And I forgot to show you guys the responsiveness. It is very, very responsive. On smaller screen it looks like this. Let me just show you. So on smaller screen it looks like this. So the H gets reduced and it looks like this. and when I open it looks like this. And on smaller screen, on screen that are smaller than this, it just spread all the way to the left and it looks like this. So this is what we're going to be creating. I just felt like showing you. So, and in here I'm just going to put an H2 that says to-do list like this and save, and I guess we are through with our HTML, which is very, very simple basics. So we can now go to the CSS, which is the fun part. And I plan on making a video explaining how to create common snippet like this, like, because right now, so I am doing the basic reset like asterisk, then margin of 0 and padding of 0 and box sizing of border box. I created a cool snippet called which I can write BR, which stands for basic CSS reset, and I can press tab and it's just going to generate this. But if you don't have these snippets, then feel free to just write it out. What this does is it gets rid of default padding and margin, because right now there's some default padding with the H1 and the H2 and all this default margin right here. So if I save this file now and we take a look, all margin are gone, like there's no space between them, which is what I want, so it does not mess around with my style. So I can continue, and then you also have our body. Oops, I cannot spell it. So in our body, I'm just going to grab this. The font family is going to be this. Okay, I can just copy this, copy and paste that in here. So, and you can change the font size. Font size to about 16 pixels. Give it a line height of 16, 1.6 rather, or 1.7. Sorry about that. And give it a width of 100% and a minimum height of 100 viewport height. And let me see, let's give it a background of an hexadecimal color, which is a light blue color, which is 8BD1FF, which is a blue color, and change the color to a really, oops, I forgot my, yeah. So I change the color to a really dark blue, which is 6.3, and I will save and take a look. Right now it looks, I can just close this, we no longer need it. So it looks like this, which is not bad at all. So what I would like to start now is our burger, so we can actually see it, because right now we can no longer see it. So I'm going to come here and I'll say burger. I'm going to say dot burger, because I gave it the class of burger. If you remember, this is it here. So I give it the class of burger. So this is the div I'm grabbing. I want to grab all div in it. So I can say dot burger, then the div. I want to give them the same style at first, then mess around with their width. So I'm going to say let me give the background color of a white color, which is FFF, and give it a margin of 0.2 rem, 0.2 rem top all around. Give it an height of 3 pixels and save for now. Let's take a look. So it looks like this is just spread all the way across because it's a div and it's a block element. So I'm going to grab each line right now. So I'm going to say dot line dash one, because remember I gave it a class, so each one line dash one down to 3. So I can just copy this with Visual Studio Code. You can copy with Alt Shift then down, then it's going to duplicate that 2 more times and change this to 2 and 3. So for the first one, I want to give it a width of 30 pixels, and I can just copy this, and just paste that in and just change this to 22 and this to 18 like this, and I guess we are true. So if I save now and take a look, it looks like that, which is fine. So what do we want to do now? We want to just kind of position this to around this top right corner. So I'm going to call the div itself, so the burger, I'm going to copy this and paste this in. Oops, what have I done? Paste this in, and for the burger itself, what would I like to do? I would like to make it position as fixed, so top of 3% and right of 3%, and I also give it a z-index of 3. And for those of you who don't know about z-index, how it works is that the higher the number, the more forward it is to the screen. It is the higher the number. If the number is higher, then it is going to be most likely above all elements. Just in case, I'm going to do it like that and save. And because I'm using Prettier, so you just format this for me. And right now it is around this side, but I also want it to have a cursor of pointer to show that it is clickable. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to say cursor of pointer, and I guess that should be all. If I save now and we take a look, so it looks like this, which looks nice. So let us now kind of center this the way we want. I'm going to call the main tag. I'm going to come here, I'm going to say the main tag. I'm going to say the main without any dot because it's an HTML5 semantic tag. I'm going to say display as flex, just a regular flex box style. So align items to the center and justify content to the center. What align item to the center does is that it centers it. I guess, let me just check, save, let me see, I guess it centers it, okay, probably horizontal or vertically, or let me just check, just not to confuse. If I give it an height, let me see, if I give it an height of 100 viewport height and save. So okay, it centered, align item centers it horizontally, while vertically rather, while justify content centers it horizontally in the x-axis. So this is just a regular flex box, but I want this to be in a column, not in a row, because by default is in a row. So I'm going to say flex direction to colon, and it looks like this, which looks all right. So just in case, I'm going to say overflow hidden, just in case, because I want there to be no, I don't want any scroll bar. So I'm going to call what now, let me see, let me just call the time and make it bigger. So I'm going to say what do I say, dot time. I'm going to give it, so should I give it, I'm going to give it a margin bottom of 10 viewport height and give it a font size of 4 rem and change the color to a pink color, which is E85 this 75, which is a pink color. If I save and take a look, now it looks like this, which looks just like this. So I guess we are through with the time. So I can just come here and say the form also, and just call the font tag. And I also like this to be displayed flex, just flex, just thinking align items to the center and justify content to the center. Give it a minimum width of 70% and give it a margin on the bottom of 45 viewport there, just to push it up. If I save now and take a look, it looks like this. So it is it has some space. This from here around here to this is around 45 viewport height. So that's all right. I'm also going to, I guess that's all for now. So I'm going to call the form input, because right now it looks horrible. So input, I'm going to say give it a padding of 0.7 rem top and bottom, 1 rem left and right. I'm going to give it a border, just to get rid of the border of none. And outline of none. So if I save now we take a look, it looks like this. I'm going to give it a width of, what do I need the width? Let me see, I'll give it a width of 60%. Let me see how that, what's wrong? Let me see how that looks like. Okay, so this is all right. And let me just increase the font size, because right now it is too small. So I'm going to increase the font size to 1.2 rem, and I guess we are through. So if I save now and take a look, it looks like this, which is better. So I'm going to grab the form button also. So the button in it, I'm going to give it a padding of 0.7 rem top and bottom, 1 rem left and right. Give it a border of none, our outline of none, and give it a background color of our what am I doing, of our pink color, and give it a font size of 1.2 rem also, and save for now. We take a look, it looks like this. So I'd like to change the color to a white color, and say color to a white color, and that should do the trick. I also like to text transform to an uppercase, also text transform to uppercase, and give it a cursor of pointer, and also have some transition. Oops, transition of all is in out 0. Oops, what am I doing? So is in out then 0.5 seconds, and save. That should be all, I guess. So it looks like this right now. So I like the button, this what's the name, this plus sign, which is the icon. I like it displayed none for now. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say when the form button and the I tag in it, I like to say display as none. So if I save now and take a look, okay, it's still there. For some reason it does, oops, it does like this. I'm just going to call it like because of FA dash plus, then it should go. So now it is gone, right? So it is no longer there. And I also like to increase the font size. We'll just do that when we can see it. So I'm going to call the form button, and on over I'll just like to darken the color. So I can just copy this, just darken the background color a little bit, and just darken the color. When I hover it, I can just get the color and just darken it however I want. So that's some random stuff. So it looks like this. And if it's using I added the transition right here is because I don't want it to flick to the state. If I change this to like a green color, so I say let me say green, just to show you that it will flick to the green state. So if I show you, it just flicks into the green state like that, which is not what I want. But if I add this transition, there's going to transition smoothly into the green color, which is like that. So just to clarify that part, and I guess we are through with this part. Let me check. So I guess we are through. Let us deal with the to-do list right now, because this is obviously not what we want. I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna say to-do list, and I give it a class of to-do dash list. Hope you guys remember, this is what I'm calling now this section, the class of to-do list. And I'm gonna say with a background color of our pink color. I'll go with a minimum height of 100 viewport height, and change the color to a white color. And let's see, let's save and take a look. So it looks like this. Which is not bad. And what do we want to do? I like to make it position absolute. So I can just come here and I'll say, okay, I guess set minimum width. I meant minimum height. I was wondering why it did not spread all the way across. So it took 100% 100 viewport height of the screen, which looks like this. So I'm going to make it position absolute, and give it the top of 0% and a right of -40%, because I want it to be out of the screen by default, out of frame. Just to show you, like, make it right of 0%, it's actually around this side, but if I say -40%, then it is out of the screen 40%. So I can scroll and you can see it right there. You also give it the width, so we can see. I give it a width of 40%. Oops, what am I doing? If I give it a width of 40%, so right now it looks like this. It's out of the screen 40%, which did not take the whole screen. So, but we obviously don't want this scroll bar, but I'll get rid of it in a minute. So what do I want to do? And I like to text align this to the center and also make it uppercase. I can just come in here. Is that all we need? Let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to think. So after we go with a width of 100, let me just say display as flex. Do I need that? I'm thinking that this should do for now. Let me just come here and say dot to do list, then the h2 in there. We just like to increase the font size to 1.5 frame, text transform to uppercase, and with a margin of 1.2 rem, top and bottom, 0 left and right, and we save. Now it should look like this. So I also like to text align this, or should I not do that? I'm trying to think right now. So let me just text align this. Sorry about the dog yelling. So let me just text align to the center so as not to cause any confusion. Sorry about the dog yelling. So it looks like this right now, which looks alright. Let me take a look at the final project. It also looks like this. So this is alright. Let me add this real quick. So I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna say display as flex to the to-do list. Or should I just add it now? I'll just add it now so as not to forget. I'm gonna say flex direction. Flex direction so as not to forget. I'll add it now. So colon and align items to the center. Center and justify content to the center. I save now and take a look. This is what we're working on. So it actually centers the only content in it horizontally and also vertical, which is fine. So I'm going to add some padding to this. So I'm going to say what do I do? I'm trying to think. So I'm going to add some padding of 1 at the top and bottom, 0 left and right. I'm going to say padding of 1 rem top and bottom, 0 left and right. So it looks like this. Just to clarify something, so it looks like this. Alright, so how about just for now? I guess we are through. Let's get rid of these scroll bars. So just go all the way to the top to the body and add overflow of hidden. Right now we can no longer scroll, so it looks like this. Why is it coming out of frame? I'm kind of confused. Then just come to the main tag and give it a width of 100%. Just say okay, right now this looks alright. So sorry about the background noise. My mom is around, she's watching a movie. So what do we do now? Just drink water. So let's just jump to JavaScript and deal with the time at first, because that seems like the simplest. Let's deal with the time first, and let's go to our JavaScript file which we created. So I'm going to come to app.js, and hopefully I've linked it. Yes, I have. So if you haven't, just link it. I'm going to say this is going to be our selectors. I like mapping things out a little bit. This is going to be our UI class. This is going to be our events, and this is going to be our functions like this. So just like to grab the time at first. I'm going to say dot time, which is the h equals to document dot query selector. I'm going to say the class of time. Remember, we give it the class of time right here. So this h2, I'm giving the class of time. So I'm going to come in and say dot time, and let's leave that for now. So I'm going to create a function that will make the time that will get the current time. So I'm going to come to our function. I'm going to say let me see, I forgot our function keyword. So I'm going to say function current time, and I'm going to just open some curly bracket like this, and we just say const today. Let's say const current time equals to date equals to new dates. I guess let's say new dates, and like this. Let's just console current. Writing current time like this and save. So nothing is actually going to happen if I go to our browser and I open our developer tool with F12. So if I come to my console, nothing actually happens. If I reload, nothing happens because we are not calling the function at all. So to call the function, all we need to do is very simple. We just come to a function, right? We can just come here and just call it like, and it's a current time like this to invoke the function, and it should console the current time, which is right here. So let me try to zoom in if I can, so you guys can see. So it says the date and give us all this stuff with the date, which is Thursday, December 10, 2020. So happy new year in advance and Merry Christmas to all of you watching this video now, and to those who will watch it later. So you just give us the current day and month and the time, which is what we want. So let me just zoom out back and and right now, since we're getting the correct date, we can just remove this. Right now, what I want to do is I want to use this ES6 or ES 2015 syntactic sugar, which is the class. I could have done it right here, but let me just do it right here. So I'll do it in both places and you'll see the difference. I sincerely like using the ES6 classes than normal functions. So I can just come here and say current time, and I can also grab, if I say current time, let me see dot, let me see get date. With Visual Studio Code, I get this little drop down of all I can do with the date. So I can just say get, let me just say get seconds, get hour right now, and it's a function, so I have to put my code my parentheses and save, and I get 16, which is 4 right now. So it is 4 in the evening. So if I can also get the seconds, I can say get seconds and save, and it's just going to give me the current seconds. If I reload, it changes to 11, 12, 13, 14, like that. So you can do a lot of things with the time. So I'm just going to put all of them in a variable. So I'm just going to say const, let me see, what can we do? Const minutes equals to current time dot get minutes. So, and I can just copy this down. Like I said, I can use Alt Shift down, then I can just change this to get seconds, and this one to seconds. And I can also get the hour. So I'm going to say hour and get hour like this, and that is all we need to plug out. If you also want to take it a step further and grab the date and do something with the date, probably create a new H2 and just put the date somewhere around this. Maybe you can put the date around there. Feel free to do that, but we're just going to do the time for now. So right now I can just call the H2, so I can, which I've plugged out right here. So I can just call the time. I can say let me see, append current time into the time. This seems like repetition, so I can just say, let me just say append into time, into the time rather, and I can just call the time dot inner HTML. So inner HTML, and I can use the backtext. I use normal quotes, but I like using backtext if I'm going to use some syntax in there. So backtext is the number, the key left to your number 1. So you can just grab the backtext in. Oops, what am I doing? And in here I will just put an H2. I'm going to put some bracket like this, so H2 just to close it, and in here I'll put $sign and curly brackets like this, and I'll say how I will go in here first, and I'll put a span tag, put some colon and close the span tag like this, and I will put that $sign, oops, a $sign. I'll put our minutes, and also our span tag, just put some colon span tag like this, and I'll put the $sign once again, and our seconds will go in here, and I guess we are through like that. So this should actually do the trick. If I save now, when we take a look, see, it looks like this. Why is this thing this zoom in? See, it looked like this. This seems too big. I must have messed something up, so let me just reduce the font size of that. Sorry about this. Let me just reduce this to about 2.5 frame, and okay, this looks much better compared to the first one. So this is what we want. So if I reload the page, actually the seconds change, everything works fine, but it is now, I have to keep reloading before it works. It is not automatic. I want it to continue by itself. So to do that, that's very simple. Just one line of code. I can just come to app.js, and I can, what would I like to do in here? So I can just say set timeout. So this is a very important function. So you can say set timeout, and this will do the trick. I'm going to say current. The first is the function. Like in here, say set timeout, the handler, which is the timer handler, and an argument. So what I want to set is the current function. I say current time, then takes in and the second parameter, which is how long. So I'm going to say 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. So if I save now and we take a look, it looks like this. It's going to, it should update itself, for God's sake. Let me refresh for good luck, and it is not updating itself. So let's check what we messed up. So I can just come here and check this out. What have I messed up right now? So let me just see, what did I do wrong? So I said current time like this and 1000 milliseconds, so there shouldn't be any problem. Oh, it's probably because I added it right here. So let me just comment this out, and this still work, right? So it's actually changed. So now we're going to jump to our ES6 syntactic sugar, which is the classes. I'm going to come in and just create a class which is very simple to use. So I'm going to say class UI and open some bracket like this, and I also have a static, so I don't have to initialize it every time. I'll give it the name of show time like this, and some parentheses and some curly bracket, and I can just copy all I did in here. So all of this I can let me see, cut them out and paste them in here. So to access this class, all I can do is just call it with, I can just say UI, because that's the name of the class. I give it the class of UI in here, so I'm just going to call it UI then dot show time, and that should do the same trick. If I save and take a look, it should still work. So it's actually reload. So let us now deal with the set timeout. So this should work now, hopefully. So oops, if we save them and take a look, this should work. So it actually runs by itself, so it changed itself. If you want to change this to about like using like not 24 hours format, like 12-hour format, then you can do that. There are a lot of resources, but I just want to use this one. You also want to add either AM or PM to this, you can also add that, but I like to keep this as simple as possible. So this is working, and now we can proceed and we can do other things. So you can just close this, reduce this a little bit. And what do we want to do now? Let us deal with the bugger right now, because nothing actually works. So what we want to, the trick here is the to-do list, the section is out of the screen, is out of frame by default. So what we want to do is, when we click on this, then we want to add a class that will make the right position of the to-do list 0, because right now it is minus 40%, but when it's 0, they need to be on the screen. So that's what we want to do, and to do that, that's very simple. So I can just come in here and let me just put show time func like this. So the function, and I want to create another function that will, let me see, display to do list section like this. And this is very simple. I'm going to create a function. Before I do that, we need to add an event to listen on. So we're going to call the bugger class, which we're going to pluck out right. I'm going to say const bugger equals to document dot query select. I'm going to say the class of bugger, and in here we're going to add an event listener to it. I'm going to say bugger dot add event listener. Listen for a click event. Then we want a function called, let me see, what can we call this? Let me say show to do list like this. And if you don't have much knowledge on and on navbar, side navbar also. I have about 3 videos on my channel where we created navbar and I explained it more in depth, so feel free to check that, and who knows, I might leave a link in the description below to those videos if you want to check that out. So I'm going to create a function now that says show to-do list, and I'm going to just invoke it like this. Oops. And what would I like to do in here, which is very simple. So I'm just going to call, if I click on this, I can actually test this by saying click. So console log clicked when one click on it, and I can just come here, put my console up, and when I click on this, it actually says click, which means it is working. So I can just continue. So what we want to do is we want to add a class to the to-do list section, and we also want to add a class to the main and also add a class to the burger, because we want, if you take a look at the final project, when we click on this, the burger turns into an X, and when we click it turns back into the table line. So we're also going to add a class to the burger. So the trick is that we're going to call the to-do, which we have not even brought out, so we can just block it out once again. So we're going to say const to-do list, oops, equals to document.query select, say the class of to-do dash list, and hopefully you guys get the hang of it. I'm going to say on click, I'm going to grab the to-do list dot class. This is going to give me the class list, which is there dot toggle. I could have said dot add, but I don't want to add it, because adding it will just put it there to not be able to remove, but I want it to toggle. So when we click on it, it turns into the X. When we click off it, when we click again, it turns back, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to say dot toggle. I'm going to toggle the class, so let me say adjust, or let me say show makes more sense. So I don't know what's wrong with this USB. So if I save now, and let me also do the same thing for the main. So I can just come here and copy this down, change this to main, and those are the class of adjust, adjust, and also to the burger, since we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to copy this, and for the burger I'm going to add the class of toggle to the burger like this. So, and I plug the burger out, which is right here. I'm going to add the class of burger of toggle to the burger and also to the main. I actually forgot to bring it in. So I'm going to say const main equals to document dot query selector. I'm not going to say the class, but just ordinary main, because it is not a class, it's an HTML5 semantic tag. So if I save this now and we take a look at this, so if I come in here to our inspector, make this bigger, so it looks like this. On click, take a look, you notice that let me open this, a class of toggle will get added to the burger, a class will get added to the main tag, and also this section. When I click on this, they all got added at the same time. When I click, they all got removed. When I click, they all got added. So that's what we want to start. We want to start the class of show and adjust and toggle. So hopefully that makes more sense. So I'm going to come back here and come to our CSS. That's why I did not close this. I'm going to come to, let me see, let us deal with the to-do section first. So that's very simple. I'm just going to come here. I'm going to say the to-do list with a class of show. What would I like to do? I'd just like to change the right position to 0. So I can just come here and paste that in and change it to 0, and that should do the trick. So if we take a look, it is now right there like this. Let me reload. So it looks like this, and when I click on this, it just flicks to the screen. When I click, it goes out. When I click, it comes back to the screen like this. I would like this to transition smoothly, so I'm just going to add some transition to this. I can just copy this, and paste that right in here. So I can paste that in here and save. So it's going to transition smoothly to the right, and go back like this. And I also like this to get adjusted, because right now when I click on this also got adjusted, and when I click, it got removed. When I click, it got adjusted. Let me delete this for fun. So like that. So I'm going to call the class of main. That's the reason I also added the class of adjust to the main. I'm going to come right here to the main. I'm going to say main with the class of adjust. what would I like to do? I'll just like to, let me see, let me just check real quick. I'm going to use the translate properties. I'm going to say translate, transform, then translate the x as it to minus 20%, and that should do. So let's take a look. Whenever I click on this and it got moved 20%, and when I click it shifts back, but it just flicks to that state also. So I'm going to put our transition right in here like this and save, and that should do the trick. So it moves smoothly like this to and fro. I would also like to reduce the size of the input because I feel it's too much. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to say for the form right in here, I'm going to say for the form, let me just say for the main tag with the class of show, you want to grab the form that is there and change the minimum width to 40%. Let me change this to 40% and save. So that should do the trick, and for some reason that did not work. So let me confirm real quick. So what have I messed up? So the main tag with the class of show, grab the form and change the minimum width. Okay, not show, adjust, because in the final project I actually used show, so that's why it did not work. So let's try this once more. So it looks like this, but it just flick into that state. So I'm also going to add transition right, oops, not this. I'm gonna say let me just copy this real quick. You know, I'm lazy, so I'm gonna copy that and paste it in, and that should do the trick. When we click, it goes smoothly like that, like this. I also like this text gone and the plus sign, which is the I tag displayed. So I'm gonna come here also. I'm gonna say to down here, I'm gonna say with the class of main, with the main, the class of adjust, I want to grab the form, then the button, what am I typing for God's sake, then the button. I want to grab the span tag in here. I'm going to say display as none, and I also grab the main and the I tag, which is the class of fa dash plus, and I'm going to make it display as block. So that should do the trick. So right now we click on this, it looks like this. Then we click, it goes back. When we click, it looks, sorry about this, it looks like that. I also like to increase the font size of the I tag. So I'm going to come in here, and I should actually put this one down here just so it makes more sense. So I like to increase the font size of this to 1.4 like this, and so it looks better. Where are you? So it looks better, it looks like this. So this is what we want, and I guess we are through with this part. So let's now start dealing with the form submission and collecting the data and all sort of stuff. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add to our JavaScript, and we're going to add an event listener also to our form. So I can just, okay, let's not forget, we also need to make this turn into an X. Let's just do it and get it out of the way. So remember, we give it the class of toggle, which is the bugger right here. So we give the bugger the class of toggle. We're also going to style that, and I'm going to come here right now. I'm going to say dot bugger with class of toggle. I want to grab the line -1, and I can copy this like this. And what would I like to do to this? I would like to change this to 2 and this to, oops, do it like this. And so when the class of toggle is on it, what would I like to do to it? I would like to change their position. So I'm going to use the transform translate property also. I'm going to say transform. I would also like to reduce the width a little bit. So I'm going to say give them equal width, so width of 28 pixels, and copy this down in here. And for the first, then let me just transform, then translate. Okay, before I translate, let me rotate, because I want it to rotate 45 degree, and then translate not x as it but both. So I want to translate the first one by 1 pixel and by 10 pixels like this. So if I save now, we take a look. So it looks like this. So it looks like this. The first line comes down 45 degree and the width has been reduced. I don't know if you noticed, but width has been reduced. It looked like this. So I'm also going to do the same thing for the third one. So I'm going to copy this and paste this in here, just that I'll make this minus 1% and minus 8%. So I'm going to say minus 8% like this, and that should do the trick. Okay, I also need to make this minus 45 degree, because if you take a look, they are both in angle 45, so they're just minus 45, and it looks like an X right now. So it looks like this, but this third line is still messing up, so I'm going to make that let me see, opacity of that to be 0, and that should do the trick. So it looks like this. If you take a look, you just flex into this into the X shape and back into the normal shape. So to prevent that, we're also going to add our transitions. I can just copy this, copy and paste this right to the div right in here. So I can just paste this and save. So it looks like this. So it transitions smoothly like this, which is alright. So what do we need to do next? Let me just take a look. Okay, I like keeping this open as for reference, so you see what we are doing now. So also like this to rotate before turning to an X. I would like this to rotate like in a final project. It actually rotates then turn into an X. So to do that, I'm just going to call the burger right now. Let me say dot burger in the class of toggle. I'm just going to make it what do? I will say transform, then rotate 180 degree. We'll most likely not see this because it's just going to turn like this, and we're actually not seeing it. So let's add our transition also and save. So that should do the trick now. So it turns in it rotates before turning to an X, and the same thing happens. So hopefully this looks better. Now what do we want to do next? So let me think. So what do we do next? We can proceed to our form submission now. So we are through with this part. This is so much fun to do. So let us now continue and proceed to our form submission, because if I add some random stuff now, it just does the default by submitting to a page which we do not want. So I'm going to come to our JavaScript file right here, and I'm going to add an event listener also to the form, which we have to bring in. Let me say const form. You can call it add form also, but I just want to make it form dot query selector, and we give it the class of add dash form, if you remember. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to say form dot add event listener. This is for a submit event rather, not a click event. Then run a function called, what should the function be called? Let me see, submit to do, like this, which we have to create the function. Let me see, submit to do func. I'm going to say function submit to do. Sorry about that noise. I'm going to add an event parameter. Sorry about that noise. Who knows who that is? So just to test this out, if I want to prevent, if I see console.log, if we console log submitted like this and save, I just pull this up once again, and once I put something in and I submit, actually you did not notice, you notice it said submitted, but it's actually more like flicks then goes back. So to prevent that, we can just come here and say a.prevent default, because by default forms are supposed to get submitted to probably a PHP file or a database or something like that. So we're going to prevent the default because we do not want that. So if we take a look now, if I put something in and I say submit, it gets added like this, which is fine. So what do we want to do? Since we have submitted it, I would like to grab whatever is being typed in. So I can just clear this, and I'm going to say get whatever is being typed in like this, and I can get that by grabbing the input. Now in the input, you give the input a class of input, so we can just grab it and get the value. And just to show you a console log, I have a cool snippet which makes me be able to do that CLG then tab, then it just brings this console log. If you want to do that, you can also install that. It is called, what is it called? Okay, EX7 React Redux GraphQL React Native Snippets. I use it a lot. It's very useful if you are a React developer, so it's very useful. It has a lot of cool stuff that you can use. I would highly recommend it if you are a React developer, but it is not compulsory, so I can just do that. You can just install it and it comes with a bunch of cool snippets. So in there, I can just console log. Let me grab it first. Let me say we want to grab the input, right? So I'm going to say const input, then the value, I forgot my e, equals to document, oops, what am I doing, document dot query selector. The reason I did not let me just see dot with the class of input. The reason I'm not putting this in here, the reason I'm not putting it in here is because if I do it like this, and it's going to mess up some stuff. Let me just show you. If I console log input value right now and save, so if I show you, if I reload the page, what's this? Let me reload the page. If I put if I just put in something and I submit, actually works. So it gives us the input with a bunch of properties, so give us a lot of stuff like this. With Chrome, Chrome makes it very easier to read, but since I'm not using Chrome, I apologize for that. But it gives us the inputs. If I ever write it, see it's actually highlighted there, but I want to grab whatever is being typed, right? So I can just tag in here dot value. So if I save now, we take a look. It looks, if I submit, it looks like this, which is fine, which gives us whatever we type in. Or you take a look, it actually does not update. If I reload this page now and I set submit, it still empty string. If I type in something, it still says empty string, because it's not going to work like that. So the reason I'm not going to put that in here, I'm going to put it right in here. Actually, it messed me up when I was making the first video, because I thought I could do it that way, but I could not. So if I save now and we take a look, it should work. So it should get updated right now. If I put in something, it gets like that. If I change it to AAA, it gets changed. If I add other stuff, it gets added like this. So now it is working. We're getting whatever is being typed in. So before we proceed, we actually like to check if before submitting, we like to check if there's actually something in here, because we do not want to input an empty field in our to-do list. Like if this is empty, we do not want something empty in there. So to do that, we're just going to use our if statement. I can just delete this and I can say check if field is empty. So to check, I'm going to check our if statement, and I can say if input value is equals to an empty string. So we can check that in here. If it's equals to an empty string, you can just console log empty, just for preference, so you guys actually see what's going on. And else, that means if there's something inside, we want to just console log whatever is inside. We can get that by let's see, you can say input value. I'm not so sure, but we should be able to do it like this and save. So I seriously don't understand this. So if I right now, there's nothing inside. When I try to submit, it actually says empty. But if I put in something right now, actually going to give me whatever I put in, which is what we want. So this is not, we do not want to console log. We want to make an alert. Like in the final project, this is final project. If there's nothing inside and I try to submit, then we get an alert right here that says please fill the field. If we try it again, it actually behaves like this. So we're going to do that, but in a minute. Let's just use the standard creepy alert that comes with website, that comes with different browser with the window object. So I can just say alert. They want to alert, please fill the field like this and save. So if it is empty, it's actually nothing happened now. But if I try to submit now that it's empty, actually says please fill the field like this, and this keep happening like this, which is creepy. So we do not actually don't like this a lot, but we're going to deal with that in a minute. So now what we want to do, and if there's something in there, then we want to proceed. So we're also going to use the HTML ES6 classes to do this, like we did with this show time. We're also going to do the same thing. So we're going to say, let me see, we're going to put a comment here that says add to the UI like this, because right now we know we can grab whatever is being typed in like we did. So when you say which we have not created, let me just create it. So when you come in here to our UI, below the static below the show time class, when it's the show time, I'm going to say static then we're going to name it add to do, which we are going to do like this. And for now we can just console log a right now, just so we know what we are doing. And we can do the same thing. We can say UI dot add to do right now and save. So when we submit, then we should actually get a, if I put some random text and we submit, we actually got a. I'm going to take a look. This from app 23 line 15. So this is where it is coming from. So this place right now, but we want to get whatever is being typed in, so we can pass that in here, like by saying input value, and that should do the trick. So with that doing the trick, what we can do right now is, let me see, so we can just, since we have passed it in, we can get it up here. So we can get it here, we can pass it, where are we? So we can pass, since we passed it in the function, we can also pass it in here like input value, and we can console log input value and save, and that should do the same trick. So if I put this in and I submit, it actually get console log. If there's nothing, it's actually not, if, what am I doing? So it's actually going to show us our creepy alert, but if there's something in there, it's going to proceed and take us to the add to do static class or so you can actually console log whatever is being typed in. I'm sorry that this video might take a long time, because I actually want to explain to the best of my ability. And let me just take water. Water is good for the body. So what do we want to do right now? And I want to create a div, right? Because right now when we put in something, let me kind of open the developer tool and also show you this. So if I show you this and come to my inspector, we'll take a look at our, this is the final project. So we take a look at our section. If I put in something like meeting, oops, I forgot my first E, with boss, and I submit. If you take a look, I submit, a div get added with the class of to do, and it is also the div in here. We also have our I tag, and we have whatever is being typed, which is meeting with the boss, and also an I tag. So that's what we're going to create. We're going to create a div. We're going to put whatever is being typed in inside that div, and we can do that with the help of JavaScript, which makes life easier. So let us proceed now. So first thing we're going to do is delete this. We don't need you. I'm going to say create a new div. I'm going to say call it const, let me say to do div equals to document dot create element. So this is how we can create elements within JavaScript. We're going to create a div. You can also create a section or whatever we want, but when we create a div, in here we're going to add a class. So we're going to say to, we can also console log this just to show you. We say to do div to show you that whatever we typed in actually got added. So if I put in something and just add, we actually get a div right now which is empty, so it's showing like this, and when we click again, just get it like that. So this is not what we want to do. Let us leave this. We're also going to add a class. I can say we're going to add a class of to do, which I'm going to style. I can say to do div dot class list dot add, because we want to add a class of to do to it. And if we save, since we're constantly logging it, a class should get added to. If I save now, we get a class of to do which got added to the to do list with a bunch of properties like this. So this is fine. Right now we want to add some stuff to it. I'm going to say let me see, append text to the to do div. Like I'm going to say to do div dot inner html. I'm going to use some backtext, and in here we can just put whoever is being typed in. So I can just put an h4. I'm used to image, so I can just put an h4 with the closing tag, and you can use the $sign and our curly bracket, and you can say to get whatever is being typed in. If you notice, if you remember, we actually got it from here, which we passed through this place. So to get whatever is being typed in, you can just copy this and just paste it in, and that should do the trick. So if I save now and take a look, so if I put in dancing and I add it to it, so we actually get deal with the class of to do. And if we scroll the way to in your outer HTML, what we did with the class of to do and an h4 that says dancing. Let me try to open Chrome make it much more easier. So I'm just open Chrome has been messing up lately, that's why I've not been using it. So let me just try, because Chrome make it much more easier. I really don't like Mozilla Firefox. So where are you? Oops, it's still loading. So we'll come back to that. But if you notice, we saw it in here in the outer where are you again, in the outer HTML that says there with the class of to do. So this is Chrome. Just delete one. So it looks like this. And why are you okay? So I can just kind of copy this, copy and paste that in like this, and open it up so it looks like this. And so Chrome will make it much more easy. Let me open the developer too, and I've not been using Chrome in a while, so let me just kind of set this up so like this. Let me close this. We load, so it looks like this. And so if we add something in now, let me just say dancing once again, or jumping, and like this, and we submit. Actually we have a div with the class of to do, and in here we have an h4 with the class of jumping. So if you take a look, Chrome actually makes it much more easier than Mozilla Firefox. So I really like using Chrome, but it's condition. So this is working fine now. So now that I've gotten this, everything still works fine. Now that I've gotten this, we like to append it into this to do section. So we can just come here. I'm going to say append into the to do list section like this. And I can just, since we have plugged the to do list section out, which is this, we can just call it to do. We can just say to do list dot append child, not append but append child, and the child we want to append is the to do div right now. And I can get rid of this console because we don't need it. And let me just comment it out. Oops, let me just comment it out. And now if we take a look right now, let me come here, and we add in something like jumping, and we add it. So if you take a look right now, it actually got added, which is this. If we change this to dancing, and we add dancing got added. If we also change this to some random stuff, it gets added, and this like this. So this is very, very fine. So what do we need to do next? We need to, right now this looks so ugly and I must have messed something up. I cannot make a video without messing it up, so I apologize for that. I don't want this to be centered this way, like it is in the center, so I actually don't want that. I'm going to go back to our to-do list, and let me see, what do I need to do? Let me just come to the to-do list in our CSS. I'm sorry about this. So I'm going to say, but it happens, like nobody is perfect. We all learn, we all make mistakes. So if you make mistake, don't feel bad about it. It happens every single time. So what will I do to it? I'm just going to, let me kind of remove this first and save and take a look. So what happens? So it looks like this. Okay, this is much better. So what do I need to do now? So what will I do? I'm trying to think. I'm going to style this up a little bit. Let me just come here. And remember, we give it, if we take a look, let's come to Mozilla. Okay, let's come to Chrome. So if we open this much more by the take a look at the element and check out, let me reload. So we put in here let me just put some random stuff and take a look at our to-do list section. If we add it, it got added in the class of to-do. If we put some stuff in there, also got added, and if we can keep adding and adding stuff, and we remove it and we try to add, we get our creepy alerts. Chrome is so much finer than Mozilla Firefox on, so this actually works. But remember, if you take a look, they have a class of to do which we can style, because right now the styling is bad. So we can just make this smaller, and we can come here and we can say class of to do and you can just give it a background color of a white color. So that's white. We can change the color to a dark gray and add some margin of 0.5 rem top and bottom, 0 left and right, and give it the width of 100% and save. So if we take a look right now, it looks like this. So what would I like to do now? I would like to just take a look real quick. So I would like to, like, right now you just spread all the way across. Like, I want to have some padding around this, so I'm just gonna come to my to-do list and add some padding. So I'm gonna say padding of 1 rem top and bottom, say 2 rem left and right, and take a look. So it looks like this. Let's just check, because I have messed something up, I'm sure. So let's check the final product. So it looks like this. Let's see. Maybe we cannot reload. So it looks like this. So this looks alright compared to, okay, this looks alright. So we can continue. Sorry about this, guys, but it happened. So we can just continue and we can continue styling this. So in the to do section, I'm going to let me see, add some padding to this. I'm going to say padding of 0.3 rem top and bottom, 0.5 rem left and right. I'm going to give it a width of 100%. I've given it that, and save for now and take a look. So it looks like this. And let me see, I actually don't want this to be text transformed to uppercase. So let me do like this, and I'm going to say text transform to none. So if I save right now, it looks like this. Why are you not changing? Who knows, but we'll deal with that later on in the video. So I also like to add some stuff to this, because right now we just have the text. It's not possible to delete, it's not possible to check some stuff. We just have the plain text. So to do that, I'm going to come back to our JavaScript. I'm going to add some more stuff to it. So apart from adding the h4, we also want to add, let me see, we also want to add what do we want to add? An I tag to it. I'm going to say an I tag like this, and I tag, I'm going to tab, oops, what have I done? What am I doing, for God's sake? I'm going to tab this over, and the I tag didn't have a class. Oops, a class. I'm used to emulate a lot. So it's going to have a class of FAS, then FA-check, which is going to be the check mark. Okay, and dash circle like this, and then can just copy this, copy and put that in here, and this is going to be FAS FA-trash for the trash icon like this, and I guess we are through. So just save now and take a look. So I can just add in some random stuff, and if we take a look right now, it got added like this. So this looks like crap, and if we keep adding, so it looks like crap. So let's just style this up a little bit. We're going to use the flex properties. I'm going to come to our style sheet, and this is how I work. Like, I don't just like having all my CSS pre-made and just paste everything in. When I go to my JavaScript, then I just start coding, and everything looks like magic. I like writing some JavaScript, then go back to the CSS and make some correction, add some style, and come back to JavaScript once again and also mess around. So that's how I like coding, and feel free to do it anyhow you want. So I'm going to come to our to do. I'm going to say display as flex. If I save now, I'm take a look. Where are you? Because where are you? Come here. So I would like to use Mozilla Firefox once again. So let me reload this. So if I come here and I add it, so it looks like this because I said display as flex. If I add onto it like align items to the center and justify content, so let me see, justify content to the center, and I also add, what do I need to add to it to make it look nice? I'm also going to say just save and take a look for now. So it looks like this. Where's the icon, for God's sake? Okay, it looks like this. So I'm going to grab the H4 and kind of make it spread all the way across. I can just come in and say dot to do. I remember there's an H4 in it. I'm going to say dot to do, then the H4. What I like to do, I like to give it a flex direction of 1. So that's going to make it spread all the way across more than other properties. Because right now, if I take it, look, let me come back to Chrome. And sorry that I'm kind of going. Let me just use it here because I don't want to start going forth and back. So if I show you the to do, which is in here, and the H4, you take a look, the H4 is the H4 took more space than every other one, so it actually spread from here to here. So it took more space. That's the reason, and that's what the flex one would do. If I had other like larger number, it's going to, the one with the largest number will take more space than the other. So that is fine. And also I like to add to it, and I also like to add some margin to it. Say margin of top and bottom, 0 rem top and bottom, then 1 rem left and right, and save. So there's some space between. Sorry about that. So there's some space between those soccer. So it looks like this. Sorry about this. So I'm going to grab the I tag right now. So I'm going to say, oops, dot to do, then the item. I'm just going to give them same style for now. So I'm going to give them a color of this what's the name, this pink color. Let me give it a green color for now. I'm going to say 8bd 1ff, which 1ff, so which is a more like okay, this is actually the blue color, more like the blue color we used. So I'm going to give it a cursor of pointer to make it look clickable, and add some padding, 0.5 rem all around, and save. So it looks like this. Where are you? 12. So it looks like this. So both have the color of this light blue. And also like to add some transition and change the other color, because this one, I would like this color to be, let me check, what did I use? I would like this color to be this pink color, just for, sorry about the just for more like harmony. So I'm going to add some transition to this, so I do not forget, is in 0.5 second. I'm going to say the to-do list. Let me see, what's wrong with the noise, for God's sake. So let me see, what do I need to do? Dot to do with the class of, with the icon with the class of fa-trash, which is the trash icon, and I'll just give it a color of our pink color, which is this, and save. So just take a look right now. Where is the color? So it is that. Let me check this. So this looks alright. It is this color and everything looks nice. So what do I like to do next? And hopefully you guys understand. You can also do other things if you like, if you want to do other things to this, but I would like to leave it like this, as simple as possible. So on over, I would just like to reduce the opacity to about 0.7 or so. So let me just what do I do? We're gonna come here and say dot to do, then the I tag on on over. What would I like to do? I just like to change the opacity to 0.7, and I remember I added the transition of all is in out 0.5 seconds, so that's going to make the transition smoothly into that, so it looks like this. And I guess this is too much. Let me reduce it. This is alright. It's like, so it's actually transitions. So I guess this is all we are doing. We can also add other stuff, and it looks alright, but nothing works right now. Like the delete and nothing works. So I also like to when we submit, I would like to clear this field and also make it focus, because right now, if let me can reload this page, so it looks like this. When I submit, if I put in just some random text and I submit, if you take a look, the cursor is inside it's inside the input. By default, it's not going to be inside. I'll have to manually come back and put the cursor inside. So I would like to clear the field and also kind of put the cursor inside before we deal with the alert, because right now the alert is so creepy. I don't understand how people made this type of alert. So let's just deal with that, because if we have something, it actually stays there and it is not focused. So you can just come to our JavaScript once again, and that is also very, very simple. We can delete this, and that is also very simple. So we can just, what can we do? We can come to go down to the function, and in here you can just, where's the function? Why in here? So I say clear field, and to do the, we can just call we can just copy this really. So you can just copy this. If I do this, if I say input value, which is the same thing as this, and I said what can I say, equals to an empty string, which is what I would do naturally. If I save now, if I save now and take a look, it's actually not going to work. So if I submit, it got added in here, but it is not clearing it, so it cannot work like that. We have to call it directly from here like this. So we can copy this and replace this with that, and that is actually, this is now going to work. So if I save now and take a look, so if I add something, it actually get cleared and it also get added to this place. So you get cleared and it got added to this place, which is from, I also want it to focus, because right now, like I said, if I add it, the cursor is no longer in there. So to make it focus, I can just come here, I can just say focus like this, on input, something like this, and I can just call the input once again and add the focus method to this. I can just copy only this and just dot focus, which is very simple, just a line of code, and that will do it. So if we come now and we just add some random stuff, it actually get focus, so it is in there, so which is fine, and it also get added to this. So now let us, before we deal with the deleting, and oh my bad, I actually forgot about this, but I'll do this in a minute after this. And I'm sorry about this, because sorry about the noise, because we are imperfect, like it is not possible to get everything correctly. I actually forgot about this. So if you take a look right now, like when this load, when it gets to about 27, around 50 something, and it gets to maybe like 0 or 0 and 1 and 0 and 2, it actually does not show 0 and 2. It will just show 2, 3, 4 until it gets to 10, which looks alright. So I just like to wait and just show you about 20 seconds right now. And I'm sorry about that, because we are all imperfect, we all make mistakes. So we're about to get there. So if you take a look right now, it looks like this. It just shows 36, 3, so I want it to show 0.4, 0.5 like in the final project. So it shows 0.9 and before it gets to 10. So I forgot about that, and we're going to do that after we deal with the alert. So I'm sorry about that. And to do that, let us deal with what do we need to do. Let me see if we had something in the work. So let us deal with the alert right now. So we're also going to use we're also going to do the same thing we did with the to do. We're going to create a div. We're going to append some stuff in there, and we're going to display it on the screen. So to do that, we're just going to do more like what we did with the static. We could have done it like manually create a div in here, because this is where we want to show the alert. So we could have manually create a div like const create div like we did there and blah blah blah. But I also like to use the class, since we started with the class. So I can just come here below this static function. I can just say static of show alert like this, and I'm going to pass in a message. Oops, I spelled static wrong. I'm going to pass in a message which is going to be what is displayed. So I can let me just leave it for now. And what we would like to do is, let me just to show you. So I can just say alert to console log alert, and we can actually do the same thing, like call the alert in here, and we say please fill fields like this, and you can just come in here where we want to display the alert. We can just say what can we do? What do we want to do? We can just say UI.show alert like this, and that should work. It will do the same thing as we have always wanted, so it actually did work. So like this, but we would also like to pass in some message, because we do not like when the field is empty and we show the alert, we want a message to pop up. And when we also submit something, when we add in something and we submit, we also want an alert to pop up, like in the final page. Right now, if I click, I just say please fill the field, and if I add something in, you say blah 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 has been added to your to-do list, which is what we want. So to do that, we're also going to add a message in here. Now the message we're going to pass in here right now is going to be please fill the field like this, and we can plug the message out in here. So we can just pass in here like message, because we passed something in, and we can just replace this with message, and it's going to work just fine. So let's just try that out and reload for good luck. And when we click on this, actually say please fill the field, which is what we want, but we do not want the standard alert, Windows alert. So we're going to create this, and we're going to also say create an alert div. So we're going to say const alert div, which is what I'm going to call it, because oops, sorry about the noise. I seriously don't know what to do about these dogs. They're just so creepy and annoying. So we're going to say const alert div because document dot create elements, and we're going to create a div also. I don't know what to do about this dog. So we can say the alert div, then we want to add a class list to it. We could have done class list dot add, which is going to work fine, but I also want to show you guys other things we could do. So we can just say dot class list, I want to put equals to alert, and it's also going to work the same way. If I console log the alert div right now and save, it's going to create, when the input is empty, it's going to create a div, and also going to add a class of alert to it. So let me just show him. Comes my console and open this like this, and if we click on this, an alert got added, so it looks like this with the class of alert and all that. So I can just click. So what we like to do is the alert div dot inner HTML is going to be the message, whatever is being passed in, because we're also going to use this same function when we also add it to do successfully. So after doing this should actually work. So now right now this is going to work, but it's not going to get displayed anywhere on the screen, so we're going to deal with that. We're going to append it to the main, which we brought out hopefully. So we brought the main out, we're going to add it to the main. We could have added it to the body. If we add it to the body, it's going to stay somewhere around this place in the body, but I do not want to add it to the body, because if I add it to the body, when this is open, it's going to stretch all the way across to this side. When like if it's like this and we add it to the body, it's going to be just fine. But when this is open and we try to add it, it's going to spread all the way across, which is not what I want. I want it to just stop around this side, so I'm going to add it to the main tag instead. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to say main dot append child, and the child I want to append is alert div, and that should do it. So if I save now and we take a look, what can we do? So once we click on this, actually got added in here. I says please fill the field, but it actually stays there, it does not go away. If I reload and add it, does not go away. So to deal with it going away, we're also going to add a function also. So we can say set timeout, and we can put an arrow function inside, and we say document dot query selector. I want to set the class of alert for my dot, so the class of alert, like which we just added. And what do we want to do about it? We want to remove it, so we can remove it like this, which is a function. And when do we want to remove it, which is the time? So we can just remove it after 3 seconds, which is 3000 milliseconds like this, and that should do it. So if I save now and we take a look. Hopefully this should work. So if I click on this, it pops to the screen, and after 3 seconds it goes away like that, which looks like this, which is alright. So what do we need to do next? What do we need to do? We need to style the alert right now because it looks so crappy. So going back to our CSS, this is where we're going to add a little bit of our animation, because I said earlier that we also added some animations. I can just come here and I say alert, and I can say dot alert because we give it the class of alert, and I can give it a width of 100%, give it a background color of our pink color, and what do I need to do? I'll give it a color of white. Let me see, it just takes a line to the center and save for now. So it looks like this, which looks alright. So if you click on it, it looks right. I want to add some padding to them. I also like to increase the font size, so I'm going to say font size of 1.2 and add some padding of, let me see, 0.5 rem top and bottom, 1 rem left and right, and let's see, let us text transform to uppercase and save. So it looks like this right now, which looks alright. What do we need to do? Because right now it is just around this side. I want it to stay at the bottom, and I also want it to transition in smoothly, like in the final project, so it goes up smoothly, which we're going to use our animation. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to say position of absolute. This is where it gets tricky. So I'm going to make it the bottom of 0 like this and save. So it's actually going to stay at the bottom right now, which is what we want. So it will go away after after 3 seconds. It will go away. So if I add, let me see if I add my transition in here, would that work? If I say transition or is 0.5 seconds and save, let's just take a look. So it just flicks into the screen, which is not what I want. So just flicking into the screen, which is why the animation is not working. There's one thing we could have done which would have made it easier, is that we could have, I know, let me see, in our index, in our HTML file, we could have created like a div, an empty div, like we can just say this will be error, and in here we can, when we, what do we want to do? When we add it in here, we can just, instead of appending it to the main, we could have appended it into this class with the class of error, and it will just work fine. But I feel like I've done that in other videos, so I just want to try new ways, so you guys have other things to do. So I can just delete this and we can continue. So right now we're going to use our animation, and to use animation it is very simple. So I'm going to put a comment animation, and to use it we also use the keyword of keyframes. So at keyframes, then I'm going to say show alert, which is the name we want to call it, and like this. So it takes 2 parameters at first, which is the starting position. You can just use 0 and then percent. At 0%, what do we want to do? And at 100%, you can also have different position. You can have at 25%, at 30%, do different things, and I will make a video explaining animation more in depth. So if you don't know much about animation, you can just stick around till then. I'll make a video explaining animation and all of that, and you can also check other content creators about for animation crash course, like Travis Media. Yeah, he's actually a great guy, and he has a tutorial of animation called animation crash course, animation, CSS animation and transition crash course, and actually learned from him. So guy is a great guy. Feel free to check his channel out and subscribe. So on 0%, at 0%, what would we like to do? We would like to transform, then we like to translate the y-axis by 100%, and at 100%, then we just like to turn this back to 3%, which is going to do the transition and all that. But if I save now and take a look, nothing will happen because we have not called this animation. We just created it. So to call it, we're going to come here, we'll say animation, and we'll give it the name which we gave it. So we can just say show alert like this, which is the same name we gave it in here. And second parameter is going to be probably the duration. So I can just say 0.5 seconds, and the type of animation which we want it to be, I want it to be ease in out like we did. And this other parameter is, we have different methods. We have the forward, which is what I'm going to do, which is going to make it just happen once, I guess. I cannot really remember. Is there any drop down on this? So let me say forward. Is there any drop down on this? So short-term property combines 6 of the animation property into, okay, this actually did not work, but I guess this will make it for, because we have infinite, which is going to make it go forever. So if I save now, we take a look. So it looks like this. It just comes in forever. And I'm going to make an animation crash course hopefully very soon. So if you don't understand this, there's no need, because I may not be able to explain it to the best of my satisfaction. So instead of using infinite, I'm going to say forward, so which is just going to make it happen just once. So if I save now and take a look, so it looks like it just transitions smoothly to the screen and goes away, and like that it transitions smoothly into the screen and goes away, which is what we want. So we also want to add the alert whenever we add something in. So whenever we add something, we also want to show an alert that says whatever we typed in has been added to our to-do list, which is very simple also. So we can just come to our app.js and just do in here. After we add it to the UI, we can just say show alert, and we can just say UI.show alert, then pass in the message. So the message we want to pass in is that we can use some backtext and open some with dollar sign and curly bracket. We can say whatever is being typed in has been added to your to-do list, like this, and this will actually do the same thing. So if I save now and we take a look, so when it is empty and we click on it, actually say please fill out the field. Once we add let me see, meeting with boss, and we click, actually say meeting with boss has been added to your to-do list, and when we check here, it has been added also. So this is why the ES6 classes are very important, because breaking into little function like this actually makes it easier. Instead of doing this, I could have alternatively done this. I'm not trying to confuse you, but just trying to explain. You don't have to, you just have to watch it. So I could have done this, and I could have come here and just copy this and comment it out and paste it in here, and also paste it in here, which is going to do the same thing, and just paste it in here, and just to show you. And the inner message is not going to be, it is not going to be message again. It's going to be the input value like this, and this space is not going to message. It's going to be let me say please fill the field, which is going to work just fine. If I save them, we take a look, that should still work. So I click on this, actually say please fill the field, and once we add something in, actually it did work. Okay, I actually forgot about other part of this, but it actually worked. But right now this is more like repetition, because we are doing the same thing. We are creating a div, and we are adding a class list to it, and we're adding the content, and we are doing the set timeout, and we also do the same thing in here. So I feel like this is more like repetition, and if there's another way to shorten this, then I will most likely go for that. So I will just clear this, and hopefully you guys are not too confused. I just wanted to explain why it is done like that, and the advantage of using classes. So I can just put this back, and everything should still work fine. So if I click on that really works. Once we add something to it, say blah 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 has been added to your to-do list, and everything still works fine. If I click, it works fine. It also focus and does some random text. Everything works fine. So right now, before I forget, I would like to deal with adding the zero. So to deal with that, that's actually very simple. I can just come to my browser, and I'm sorry I forgot about it. So what we need to do is we need to create more like a function that will check if the seconds, because I would like to add it to the seconds, and I also like to add it to the minutes. So but I would not like to add it to the hour. Like I would prefer it if it's around maybe like 2 in the midnight, and I would like it to show just ordinary 2 than 02 for hour. So I'll just leave it that way. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a function that will actually check if whatever we passed in here, if this 52, if it is a 2-digit figure or a 1-digit figure. So if it is a 2-digit figure, then add nothing, but if it's a 1-digit figure, then add 0 to before it. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to create a function to do that. So to do that, we're just going to go down to back to our JavaScript. I'm going to create a function that will do just that. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to say in here I'm going to say oops, that was ridiculous. So add zeros func like this. I'm going to say function add zeros. I'm going to pass in more like whatever is being passed in, which I can say E, which is the event or element. So I can say EL, and we just return let me see, we're just going to return the element. We're going to pass it in we're going to pass it through pass in. So I can just say wrap it in a function like this, then in a curly bracket I can say pass int. Then what we want to pass in, we're going to pass the element that's passed in. Then we want to change it to base 10, and you don't need to cram this. Like anytime I need something like this, all I do is more the same thing. Like I just copy and paste it. You can just have it more like a basic snippet or so, where you can just use the same function and nothing is going to be wrong with that. So we're going to pass the element that has been passed in. I'm going to change it to base 10, which is going to do just that. I'm going to check if it is less than 10. So if it is less than 10, we're using the ternary operator. We could have used normal if statement, like normal statement like if whatever is passed in here is less than 10, then do this. But when you use the ternary operator, so I'm going to say if it is less than 10, then we can get the then with the question mark, then do this. Else would put in the colon, which stands for else. Which stands for else like this. So if it is less than 0, then we want to add if it is less than 10, if whatever is being passed, we'll first pass it, then we'll convert it to base 10, and if it is less than 10, then add 0 to it. But if it is greater than 10, so add nothing to it, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to wrap this function in the time right at the top. So we're going to come all the way to the top, and I'm just trying to get it right in here. So we're going to say what do we need to do right in here? So we're going to replace this, like remove this, and we're going to call that function, which is add zeros like this. And remember we said the element, which is what we're going to pass in here right now, which is going to be the minute, which is coming from up here. So if this minute, which is the current minute, is less than 0, like we did in here, so if the current minute which we pass up is less than 0, then is less than 10 rather, then add 0, else add nothing to it. And we're also going to do the same thing for this second. So I can just remove this and I will say add zeros. Then if the seconds which is coming from here is less than 0, then is less than 10, why do I keep saying 0, then add 0 to it. So if we save now and take a look, everything should work fine. And pretty I did format it for me, so everything should work fine. Oops, what have I screwed up? So I guess I've messed something up. Okay, I remember what I messed up. So we also need to add plus whatever is being passed in, because right now it actually does not know what to do. So we're also going to add it in here. Like if this happens, let me just wrap this in parentheses like this. After this, they want to just add the element that's being passed in, and we are true for life. So if we save now and we take a look, it will actually work. So it looks like this, and let's just take it. Once this gets to about 0 point something or so, it is going to once it gets to about 1 second or 2 seconds or so, it's going to add 0 to it. So you just wait. And if you want to use this, like if you want to have that same functionality in other stuff, feel free to use it. Just need to copy and paste and just manipulate some stuff, and everything should work just fine. So just take a look. So it actually says 0 0, then 0 1, and 0 2, and 0 3, and it goes on like that. And once it gets to about 10, which is greater than 10, so it's going to change back to being normal. So, and the same thing will apply to this, but not to the hour, which that's because I do not want it to behave like that. So with this done, I guess what remains right now is deleting and checking it, because right now if we add something, this is pretty more not useless, but it is not, this is not the full functionality, because right now we can just add to do, we cannot delete it, we cannot check it if it is completed, and so we need to add that functionality, and I guess this is the last thing we're going to do. So let's just continue right now, and in here to do that, we're going to add an event listener to the to do section, because right now we cannot add an event listener to this div which we created, which to this div which we created. We cannot add an event listener to it because we cannot grab it. We cannot, like, when I was learning to do stuff about maybe like 4 months ago, when I was learning, what I thought was, okay, I'll grab everything from the documents. I'll use document the query selector, or then select everything, then loop through them, then do some checking and all that stuff, and get all this rubbish code that I used to do. But that did not work. So what we can do is add an event listener to this section, which we can actually see, because we cannot grab whatever is what is not in the DOM. What we need to grab is whatever is in the DOM, like currently in the DOM, not what we'll get through JavaScript. So this is what we can grab, this section. So we're going to grab that in the event, which is down in here. So we're going to say to do list dot add event listener. This is for a click event, and run a function called check. Let's do the check to do, like check to do, which is very simple. So check to do, and which I'm going to create a function. So I'm going to create a function somewhere. Where do I need to create a function? What have I done wrong? Okay, this should actually be, this current time, which is initializing this function, should be up here, so as not to mess things up. So let me just put a comment like one function. So this should be here. Sorry about that. So when I have to create the function that will check the to do, so we're going to come in, we're going to say function check to do. I'm going to pass in the event parameter also, like this, and for now just console log whatever is being typed in, so we can, since we pass the event parameter, we can actually get it through here. If I save now, I'm going to take a look. If I add something in and I click on anywhere, if I click on this, actually give me a bunch of property, which is the event property, which is a lot. So I can narrow it down to whatever is being typed, like it.target, and save. So if I come back in here and I just add something and I show you, if I click on this, actually gave me the h4, because if you remember, I told this h4 spread all the way to this side. If I click on this, actually gave me the I tag with the class of f-trash. If I click on this, it gives me the class of f-check-sec, which is what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an if statement to it and check if whatever we clicked is contains the class of f-check-cycle, and if it does, we're going to do the same thing that we did. Like we're going to send it to using the class, and we're going to add some classes to it, and that class is going to deal with all of that stuff. So to do that, we're just going to come in here. I'm going to say for now, let us wrap this in a constant. So we can say constant element, which we can shorten by el, and just remove this, and this is also still going to work. So what we can do is we can just pass it through the UI class, which we have to create. So we're just going to come in. I'm going to come below this add to do. I'm going to say static, then let me see check to do, which we're going to pass in something. But for now, just console log a, just some random text, and yeah, what we're going to do is basically the same thing. We're going to say UI dot check to do, like this, and we're going to save, and once we click, it's just going to console log a. If I click anywhere, just console log a, even without adding something, just console log a like that, which is fine. So we're going to pass in the event parameter, which we're going to grab in here to do our if statement, and hopefully this makes more sense. If I put in the event parameter in here and I see console log or whatever is being clicked, the same thing should also happen. So if I do that, and I just click. It actually gave me the H4, it gave me the I tag, and it gives me the I tag, something like this. So this is what we want. So right now, what we're going to do, we're going to do a check to check if whatever is being typed, if whatever is being clicked, which is this EL, contains the class of fe dash check dash fe dash check dash circle. So we're going to do that. We're going to say if el, which is the element that is passed, dot class list dot contain, this is how we check it. If it contains the class of fe dash check dash circle, which is that, then what we want to do is just let's just console log contains. Else what we want to do is just return nothing. We're just going to return then nothing, like this. And this should, if it actually contain the class of fe, not fes right there, fe dash check dash circle, then console log contain. If I check it now, if I add something and we click on this, nothing actually happens. If we click on this, nothing happens. If we click on this, nothing. But once I click on this, actually say contains, which is what we want. So once that happens, then we want to narrow it down to the parent. So this is not what we want to do. Let's just leave this one alone, and what we want to do is grab whatever is being clicked and narrow it down to the parent. And we can do that by saying let's just put in a variable, then const to do equals to the element that has been passed dot parent element, which is just normal DOM selection. So you can just console log to do and save. And if we come here, we just click on this and just add some stuff in, and we click on this triple S. Actually give me to do. If I click on this, actually give me the parent element. If I click on this, it gives me the wherever is being the parent element. And that's what we would like to add the class list to and just manipulate a little bit. So we're going to come in here. We're going to say what we want to do. If it contains that, they want to add that, call that to do, that current to do, then class list, then toggle. Toggle the class of checked to it, which we're going to style. So if let me kind of come in here and then show you the inspector. If I open this up like this and I come down in here and I just add some random stuff and random stuff and random stuff. So if I click on the first one, the class of check got added to it. If I click again, it got removed. If I click on the third one and I click on the second one, they all got added. So we can now style the class of check, which is nice. So we can just come in here. I'm going to say the class of check. So we can come to, where do we want to go to? Let me see. So we can come in here under the to do, which is here. I'm going to say dot checked. And on check, what we would like to do, we would like to add an opacity of 0.7 to it and save. That should do the trick. So let's see. So because the opacity that got added to it, if I do this once again, and wait, something is wrong. Like let me try to check this. So if I cannot do this, okay, everything is fine. I must be seeing nothing. So if I click on this, I'm add the class of the opacity got added to it, but more like flicks into this. I'm going to add our transition also. I'm going to copy this and add this in yes. So that should work. But this is not the only thing I want to do. If I take a look now, it's going to transition smoothly like this and like this. If I click on this, I try to transition smooth, but I want it to go all the way to the left, to the right, and come back being checked, something like that. So we're also going to add an animation to it or so. So let me just confirm real quick. So we're going to come in here also and add an animation which will do nothing. See, to do dot style dot animation. So we're going to add an animation of check to it also, like this. Then how long? 0.5 seconds. Then is dash in dash out and save. So we're going to start the animation right now. So we're going to come in. I'm going to say animation. So let me just get that so as not to mess things up. We're going to use our keyframe also. Add keyframe, then check. Remember we give it the class of checked. Then what we would like to do to the keyframe, add 0%, add 0%. What we would like to do, add 50%. What we would like to do, and add 100%. Sorry if you can hear the backing, those dogs are so annoying. So we like to transform, then translate the x-axis, which is the horizontal, which is like this. We like to make it 0 by default, and 100%. What we would like to do, like to say transform, then translate the x-axis by 100% by 100%. What we like to return it back to the normal stage. So if I save now and we take a look, so it should actually work. So F12, it looks like this. If we add something in here and we click on this, actually it goes like that. And when we click, but it does not work. It wants to click only the opacity works. It does not go back. Once we add other things, it should work, but once we click, it does not happen like that. So if we take a look at our inspector, so let me just make this big, let me reload and add something in here. If you take a look at this to do right here, once I click on it, an animation got added to it, but the animation did not get removed. So we have to remove this manually so that we can add it once again. So we can just come to our app.js and we say we want a function on the to do. We say to do dot add event listener. We also have an event called animation end, and on animation end, what we would like to just write on an arrow function like this. And what we're just going to call this one again. We're going to say the animation equals to nothing like this, and that should do the trick. So if I save now, we take a look. So once we add something in and we click on this, I want you to take a look at this to do. Once we click on it, it got added, then it got removed. So we can click on it again and everything works fine. So it looks like this, which looks alright. So hopefully we can, it also works in other things. If we add some random stuff, if we add just a bunch of stuff and we click on this, it works fine, this works fine, and this works alright. So once you click again, it comes back being unchecked and so on. We can also add let me see, we can add this thing like on the check. We can also say text decoration, so kind of line through, so it actually has the line through it like this. So if we add, sorry about the banging, so if we have meeting with boss and dancing at the club like this, and oops, sorry man, my system battery is now down, so it looks like this, and oops, battery is low, so it looks like this. Once we click on it, it gets the line through it, and once we click, it looks like this, and once we unclick, it looks like this, which looks alright. So now let us just deal with the trashing, so to the deleting it, which is very simple. So we're also going to do the same thing we did here. So I'm just gonna copy and paste it, so we can just call this trash to do, which is something like we're going to grab the to-do list, add an event listener to it, then run a function. So the function we want to run right now is more like the same thing. So I can just copy this down and change this to trash to do like this, and we're going to create the UI for it. It's going to be called trash to do also, and we're going to create the UI because I'm going to try to go a bit fast because this video is taking so long. So I'm going to say static trash to do, put in the element in the end. I'm going to do our little if statement. I'm going to say if the element dot class list dot contains, if it contains the class of let me say the class of fa dash trash, then run a function. If I console log trash and else, we're just going to do our else statement that return nothing. So if I show you right now, if I add something to this and I go to our console and I click on this, nothing happens. Once I click on it, it says trash, but once I click, nothing else happens. Once I click again, it says trash, and so like that, which is alright. So what we would like to do right now, so we're going to kind of delete it. We're going to add a class to it, also add an animation to it, and just delete it. So to do that, that is also very simple. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to say not console log, but we're also going to grab the parent element, which we can copy from here because it's the same thing. So we can just copy this, and I'm going to also copy this, copy and paste this in here like this. And what we would like to do, we're going to call this trash. So check and save. So when an animation will be added to it, so we have to deal with the animation, like start the animation up, so which is going to be quite easy too. We're going to kind of copy and paste this a little bit. So we're going to copy this. I can just copy this and change this to trash, and at 0%, what we would like to do, we're not going to translate, but we'll rotate it because I want it to more like have a shake effect. I can just copy this and just do Ctrl D and D and select the remaining three and just say rotate. So at 0%, I want it to rotate 0% with 0 degree rather, not percent. At 50%, what would I like to it to rotate by 10 degree like this, and by at 100%, what would I like to do? I like it to rotate at 0% also, so it goes back to the original state. And if I save now and take a look, this should actually work. So if we reload for good luck, and just add some stuff in and just random text, and we add this. So once we check still work. Once we uncheck, it still work. Once we delete, actually it does like this, which is fine, but it did not get deleted. So what we like to do is, after, because what we should have done was on delete. So if we do not want to add this animation, we could just done to do dot remove like this, and that's going to do the trick. So if I come here and I just add some random stuff like this and delete it, it's just going to get deleted, which is fine. If I add other stuff to it, it's going to get deleted, but the animation is not going to occur. So to do that, we're going to add the animation. We're going to also do the same thing which we did here, like to do add event. This is for animation and then want a function. So we're going to do that by doing, when the animation ends, what we would like to do dot remove like this, which is going to work just fine. So once the animation ends, once the shake effect finish, then it's going to remove it. So if I save now and take a look, this should do that trick. So if I do like this, like just some random text and do this, so once we delete, actually it shakes then remove. Once we delete, it shakes then remove, and once we delete, it shakes then remove. You can actually mess around with the shake effect if you want it to rotate more. Like I actually did something like 30 before, but that was too much. So just to show you, if I had some random stuff and show you, so you're actually going to shake too much. If you want this way, feel free to do this. And I actually did something like this a while ago, like how did I, like 360 years I did something like this, which was very stupid of me, but you know, I'm the one and I can do stupid things. So like this, and actually did rotate like this before deleting, which was very stupid, but feel free to mess around with it. You can spend a lot of time doing this thing, and I've done it a lot of time also. So it just looks like this, then it deletes them. So the last thing we need to do, let me just check my budget percent. Okay, the last thing we need to do right now is the responsiveness, because we are basically through. This is something you could have added, like you could have more like saved it to local storage, and once you close the browser and you come back, then it gets refreshed. But I don't want to do that right now because I feel like this video is long enough, and if I continue to do that, you guys might get tired and bored, and probably I'll do it in another video, more like a continuation. So I'll just do it in another video, but I would like to have your feedback on it. If you want me to do it on another video, I will do it in another video, but with this is just fine, because right now if we add some stuff, we say meeting with boss and dancing at the club, going to bed like this, This actually looks nice. The deleting is working and every other thing is working, but once we refresh the page and we go back to it, actually it does not get refreshed. But if we save it to local storage, then that is going to work. It's going to actually still stay there. So I'll probably do that in another video. And so the last thing we need to do now is the mobile responsiveness. Now, so I can just close this up. And now the mobile responsiveness, right now this looks alright on desktop screen, but on smaller screen it looks like crap. So it looks like this. So this is not the best, unlike the final project which spread all the way across. So we're just going to add the media query, which is very simple, I promise. So let's go to our media queries right now, and in here, so I'm gonna say media queries. Oops. And I can say at media, let me see, screen and bracket. So what am I doing? Max width of 880 pixels. And for those of you who don't know about media queries, whatever style you put in here is going to take effect only on screens that are 800 pixels or less. So around this size, I guess around this size, then the effect is going to the style is going to take effect. Just to show you, if I grab the body and I say display as none, so if I save, actually display none, because this is less than 800 pixels. But once we go above 800 pixels around here, so it actually stays, which is all right. So this is not what we want to do. I would like to reduce let me just get rid of this, and I would like to reduce the h2 right now because I feel this is too big. So I'm going to come here, we'll say time, we'll say dot time, then the h2. I like to give it a font size of 2 rem instead of 2.5 rem. If I save, actually reduce now. I also like to grab the main, I'll say dot main, and I also like to grab it when the class of show is added. So on show, what would I like to do? I like to make it transform, then translate the x-axis of minus 25%, just to push it more to the left, so it looks like this, so it gets pushed more. And I also like to grab the to-do list and increase the width. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to say dot to-do dash list, then I'm going to say give it a right position of minus 50% and give it a width of 50%, just to make it equal, so it looks like this, which looks alright. So on a screen that's smaller than this, it looks, they both share half of the screen, which is alright, like this. So what do we need to do now? We need to, on smaller screens that are smaller than this, around 680 pixels or less, around this size, then I want this to spread all the way across on this, because this is not very good. I like this to spread all the way across. So I can just come here and let me check. I can just come here and say as media screen and max width of 680 pixels. And what would I like to do? I like to grab the time also and use the font size. I can just copy this and use the font size to about 1.5. Oops, what am I doing? About 1.5 rem. And I also like to grab the to-do list and make it spread all the way across, so it looks like this. Oops, what am I doing? I'm kind of in an hurry, so this video does not take forever. So like this, and the width should be 100%. So on smaller screens, it's actually going to spread all the way across like this. And what was wrong? Okay, I forgot the minus. So like this. So on smaller screen, it looks like this, which looks alright. So on very small screen, it looks like this. So this is what we did, and the animation still works. What do they call that? The alert still work, and every other thing still works. So we can no longer see the what do they call this, the icon, because I don't know, for some reason my internet connection is out. So I'll just deal with that later, but this works very fine. So I guess that's going to be it, guys. I just confirm meeting with boss. I just like using this, but I don't have any boss. We have dancing with wife. I'm not married, just so you know, and blah 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 blah. So this is going to be it. and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Okay, the icon is back, so it still works fine. This works alright. So that's going to be it, guys. Hopefully you guys like the video. I did not want it to be this long, but I apologize because I kind of want to explain to the best of my abilities, because I want it to be well explained for those of you who do not understand much and who don't have much project. So hopefully you guys appreciate that, and if you guys watched, if you stick around till the ending, then I really appreciate that. Thank you for sticking around, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So if you have other questions and comments, feel free to leave it in the description below. If you have done this before and you feel like you have other things to add, and you feel like you have other things to complain about, just let me know in the description below. And you can also follow me on social media to get updates on my release date and videos and all that stuff. So to get to know me better, you can follow me on Instagram and also on Twitter. Those are the two social medias I'm using, as at the Tom Media or Tom Media, anyone. I've forgotten which one I'm using, so I apologize for that. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please